PR regularly. What does that mean? Well, for today's video, it's all about programming. So programming is important, and something that really annoys me, really grinds my gears these days, is that this narrative that programming needs to be boring, and good programming, that's the other thing. People always say good programs are boring, good programs are repetitive, and I think that's stupid. And I do really think that that's not a way that athletes need to train. That's not a way that you need to train your athletes, and here's why. So when you started training and you were a beginner, you were weak as piss, you were really not good at anything, your bench press was the bar, and you loved training. Everyone that is kind of into training for more than like 4 or 5 years knows that at the beginning of training, you were your most addicted to training from compared to all the times that you've ever been addicted. And there's only one reason really why, and that's because you were constantly improving. When you are a beginner, you have that thing of the phenomenon called newbie gains. And newbie gains is it's addictive because you are super weak and you are progressing basically every 2 to 3 to 4 weeks, and you're progressing. Your bench press goes up, your squat goes up, everything goes up because you're weak and your ceiling is really low. So now you go up and up and up the entire time. That is how most people get addicted to training way at the beginning, and that's why they start liking it. The stronger you get, obviously, the less that happens. And the higher the ceiling goes, the harder it gets to get better. This is a normal thing. This is with speed. This is with everything. This is how it works. But that doesn't mean that you can't program your training to still be fun and allow you to PR regularly. And this is something I've recently done with my athletes, is that I use variation to help us PR more regularly in our training. So you use variations of exercises. A lot of people like to choose a variation or a certain exercise and a group of exercises, and you do that for 8 to 12 weeks, and you stick by it, and hopefully you put on, I don't know, 0.25 on your bench or something like that. Well, first of all, that's boring, and second of all, that's not a lot of PRing, and it's hard to stay and stick to that program. It's super easy to stick to something that you're getting better at. That's why you like gymming at the beginning. So this is something that I like to incorporate. So here's an example of what I've recently done with one of my athletes. So I'll show you now, you can change this, but PR regularly, week 1 to 3, I'm using a horizontal press as my example. We used the pin press for a 10 rep max. So we worked up to the heaviest 10 rep max that we could do on a pin press. That was honestly like our main goal. Literally, that was our main move. And this is just one exercise. You can do this in lower body, add another type of thing. You can do this with another exercise. It doesn't have to be a horizontal press. I just make sure there's one exercise, at least in our program, that we are switching currently and that we can really PR regularly on. So this we did for 3 weeks. Just finding that RM. If your athlete is still really weak, maybe they'll even PR in this 3 weeks. But sometimes if it's a new exercise, then maybe after they get more comfortable with the exercise, they'll also PR. But stronger athletes, not so much. So you pin press in week 1 to 3. Week 4 to 6, you do a giant set of at 80% of your 1 rep max of a normal bench press. This is a normal bench press that you're going to perform. So completely normal bench press at 80% of your 1 rep max, you're going to do a giant set. So what is a giant set? Over here, for example, in this specific giant set, we used 30 reps, and we saw in how many sets can we complete 30 reps at 80% of our 1 rep max. So the athlete goes, he does a max bench press, so as many reps as possible, rests as much as needed, and keeps on going and keeps on going. 2 things we measure here is how the sets are broken up. So if they performed more reps every time in the following weeks, then they're obviously improving. And if they completed the 30 reps quicker. If the duration it took to complete this giant set was quicker, it also probably means the athlete got stronger. This is week 4 to 6. Week 7 to 9, we switch to a 5 rep max. So we're going to do the heaviest weight we can do for 5 rep max. And at the end of the set, we're going to drop down to about 70%, and we're going to do one set of a really light weight, because if you can do 5 rep max, maybe that's like 75% of whatever you can usually do. And you take that weight that you used to get this 5 rep max, 70% of what you used for this 5 rep max, and you're going to do one set of AMRAP. The nice thing about this is a lot of athletes tend to PR in this block a lot, because they get to challenge this AMRAP set. So they get to try and every time with this lighter weight, really try and push. This is a very mental thing because it's not fun. You feel a lot of burn. It's really nice because athletes tend to PR a lot of a year. Here's the fun part. You can go back to this and start the entire process over. And then you can go. The fact that the exercises are changing quite frequently every 3 weeks makes it really fun for the athlete, and they have something to challenge every time. And for all the coaches that really still believe that you need to stick to the same thing, tell me what is different to what you are doing and what this is. Because there's not much difference. It's still a horizontal press. Oh, wow, you took the bench press and did it for 12 weeks. Well done. You're boring. This is not boring. This is a small thing you can change, and there's no deviation here. Coaches love to say that if you do something different each week or every 3 or 2 weeks, you're deviating. You're deviating from your program. Well, variation is not deviation. I've said that so many times in posts. Don't think it gets anywhere, but variation is not deviation. Another way, this is probably my absolute favorite way to do this, is you can do each one for 1 week. You can pin press for 1 week. Week 2, you do the giant set. Week 3, you do the 5RM with the AMRAP. Then again, week 4, pin press. Week 5, giant set. And you see every like third or second week, you're going to be PRing at some point. And you can change this up. There's 10 million different variations of a bench press, of a squat, of a shoulder press, of anything. You can change this up. There are 10 million different intensity methods. Use any intensity method, drop sets, whatever you want to use. You can use any of those intensity methods to make this more effective and try and really give your athletes or yourself, give yourself some variation. Keep training interesting. Keep PRing. Just because you've hit a higher training age doesn't mean you need to go into this little sad boy thing about, I've reached that stage where it's normal for me to only PR in every second year when it's a full moon, that type of thing. You don't have to get to that mentality. Just change your training, get suitable for you, and enjoy your training again. This is just one way of doing that. Hope you found this video helpful. If you liked it, subscribe, and I'll keep trying to post more videos like this and help you with your training.